is iRacing. Well, it's been different winner after different winner in the GTPs. The GTOs have stayed the same, but a new name at the top of the championship in the Leschialoma as they approach the break. Well, no special race this weekend. They're back to points racing. Officially, round 5 of the IMSA Vintage Series heads to the best layout in the world. It's Donington Park National here today for your IMSA Vintage season here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hello, everybody. I am Craig King. As always, and joining me in the booth today is the birthday boy. It's Joseph Black. Our director will be Daniel Costello, up burning the midnight oil and using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. As I said in the intro, I'm biased. This is the best layout. It's Donington National. To find out more why this is the best layout, we head to our GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Donington Park. This British track can boast the rare feat of hosting Grand Prix racing since before the advent of the modern F1 Championship. About a half-hour northeast of Birmingham, cars and bikes of many types have competed here. There are 2 layouts that can be driven: the Grand Prix version, which is roughly 2.5 miles, or the National Circuit, which is just under 2 miles. The only difference between them is the addition of the Melbourne and Goddard's hairpins at the end of the lap. This circuit is known for its fast, sweeping bends and difficulty in overtaking. There's also some extremely tricky blind apexes like at McLean's and Coppice. Ironically, one of the most famous and more difficult high-speed turns is called the Old Hairpin. Resembling nothing of its name, it includes a frustrating kinked entry and a very critical corner exit that leads to a long piece of uphill acceleration. The first turn of Redgate is a popular place for overtakes, but it carries an unusual danger. The pit exit empties right into the racing line, and if stops are expected during the race, it can prompt some treacherous exchanges. While the circuit is most well known for its extremely wet 1993 European Grand Prix, where Ayrton Senna blitzed the field for a win, currently the track is mainly used for lower-level open-wheelers and touring car racing. Overwhelmingly popular with British fans, Donington Park has established itself as a pivotal circuit in the UK racing scene.
Well, Joseph, you've had the experience of actually being at this track to watch them racing. I haven't. This is a very classic British racetrack.
Certainly is. It's a great one. Just under 2 miles of racing, 10 corners, so not too many overtaking opportunities for the drivers, but they will be trying to pounce upon every single chance they get. Coming up onto 100 years of racing at this circuit in Leicestershire, and well, it's had a steep history around, especially the National Circuit, as well, we'll be getting some historic cars getting around there in just a couple of moments' time.
Look out for some overtakes going into before Robert's chicane at the end there. Redgate will be interesting around the outside. Should be very chaotic today on a almost full grid. Before we get to that grid, we got to get through the championship standings, of course. And as I was saying, we've got no races last week, so this is now back to the point to Leschialoma, leading the championship from Gabriel Martinez and Jacob Reed. It feels like it's going to be a 3-car race, because right behind him, Brendan Lim and Lal Stolson, Nicholas McCannos, Christoph Leinajak. They're quite close there for 4th, but not really close to catch Jacob Reed. Fabian Jumblov will be in 8th, and Diego Mastretta 9th. Raul Roches Gardia, very rare to see him at the bottom there, but he rounds out the top 10. GTOs, a little bit different, Joseph.
Yeah, just a little bit. Aldrius Valenteus, 75.17 ahead of Joni Hagner in 2nd place. Noel Lundberg in 3rd, 24 points behind our points leader. And Yuko Leshkula and Cal Young joint on points for 4th and 5th. Jeroen van Hicks is going to be in 6th place, just the 1 point ahead of 4 drivers. Ilka Cotasalo, Andrea Schuster, Emilio Dachari and Turban Palek round out the top 10.
Yeah, very close there. And it's not done by alphabetical order, just done by their best results. And talking of results, let's look at the race standings for today. It is round 5 of 12, technically 11 because last week does not count. 40-minute race though, and it's an open setup to use the iRacing baseline, use a set you've made yourself or one provided by the community. But if you crash, your day is done. There is no spare car today. There is a drive-through at 17 incident points, however. A disqualification at 25. Don't think we'll be seeing that. 17 incident points. cutting too much there at Coppice. Well, it can happen, has happened, will happen. That's a little bit debatable. We're going to have to wait to see, as qualifying's on at the moment for this 51 strong field. I can't believe I'm saying 51. We've had a big camel chaos group, as they used to say in the old days, as qualifying's already going out there. Lap times for National are going to be under a minute for some of these drivers. Already pole position. Our man, probably the best driver we love, it's Ozzy Bahaka, one of our colleagues, currently leading the way, but the big names haven't gone out yet. Yuko Leskala right behind him. Just saw there Jacob Reed. You can always see it's Jacob Reed, the Worcester man in the green and yellow. Comes on by to set his first lap time.
Certainly does. Ozzy Pahaka currently showing everybody how to drive at the moment, just under a tenth ahead of Leskala at the top of the field. And nobody really in the GTOs has set a real competitive lap time, although Lundberg and Hagner have just gone in with the top 2 times of this session so far in that field. Jacob Reed coming through to try and set his first time in the session, and we'll see where the GTP is able to put himself third, of course, in the iRacing in this session. It will be up to the line for Reed, and it will be a time, as you say, of under a minute. 55.672 is going to put him in good stead, and it'll put him in 4th place. A good platform to build upon into his second and final lap.
Yeah, I think he's going to need it as well. A little bit of a shock there. That's only 0.184 behind Ozzy Bahaka. That's only good enough for 4th, but it's quite tight. Less than half a second separating the top 7 drivers in GTP. GTOs are looking at Noah Lundberg right here, the number 4 car coming across the line for his final lap time. It's a very good lap time. He's put more time on everybody. Mickey Friesen then comes to put on some time, and he's only 4/10 behind. But we got to look at the gold standard, who for the first time this season did not win a Saturday lunchtime race in the Lotus 49s. Still unbeaten. Gabriel Martinez just out of nowhere goes pole position in the GTP. Can Valenteus take the line? 104.851. That's a really slow first lap there for Valenteus. Jacob Reed now out of nowhere. Look at the gaps in the GTPs.
Yeah, incredibly tight. Just over a tenth of a second between the top 3. Then under a tenth of a second between 2nd down to 4th. Gabriel Martinez really using the extremities of the track here, trying to use everything that he can, maybe going off into the grass a little bit, the gravel a little bit, to try and get the exits and the entries that he so desires to beat that 55.416 he has at the moment. He's got 300ths to find to Jacob Reed at the top of the field. Don't forget, though, about the likes of the drivers further back. As you say, Odris Valenteus in the GTO field in 6th place, so he's not quite within range of Lundberg. Gabriel Martinez, can he snatch pole position away? He's going to come to the line. It will be a 55.202. It's going to be top, and it's going to be 0.182 between himself and Reed.
That's a big gap. When you look at everybody else, that is such a big gap to the rest of the field. Now, what's Valenteus going to do? He needs to find something good. Going to come across the line right now. Can he get some more time? 104.260. It's good, but it's not good enough there, as they used to say in catchphrase. It's good, but it's not quite right. Elena Jack's going to be one of the last drivers to set some times. Even though it's a sub-minute lap time for these GTP, some drivers not getting out right away, as Elena Jack now going through. William Gari deciding, no, not really worth it going out again, as Yanis Carpentier will be one of the last drivers here. 51 cars. Give you an idea, 25 GTP, 26 Audis. Very interesting lineup there as Carpenter. That's going to be an off track. I don't think he's going to be able to set some more times. I think there's about 4 or 5 drivers yet to set a lap time, but almost everyone's set their times today.
Yes, almost everybody. At the moment, there's only 5 drivers without a time, so we've got 46 drivers with at least 1 lap time on the board, with 1 minute 26 left in the session. Yanis is going to come up to the line and start his final run to try and catch up to the leader in his pack at the moment, which is Noel Lundberg, who is 25th overall, of course, which means that he is going to be the leader of his pack with a 105 or 104 even, 0.122 being his best lap time of the session. The Legend Attack is going to be done. Yanis Carpentier is going to go one more time. He's got just over a minute to do so, so it's going to be tight to the line.
Yeah, I think he's not going to have the time. It's going to be very tight. He'd have to put in a lap with the gods, and with no offense to Yanis, I don't think he is a god. You never know. I'm not going to tell anyone they're not a deity. However, it's going to be tough to make that there. 104 is what most drivers at the front are doing. I think he crossed the line with about 103 left, but even still, this is just going to be a little bit of sighting laps here for the number 34 cars. Always good to get your eye in, and it's very good to see what is. So I'm just having a laugh at what people are saying in the races. They're getting themselves ready. They're just getting themselves psyched up for the broadcasters. Yannis gonna take himself down this back straight, the very famous back straight. They hit to Robertson with 9 seconds left. You're gonna need basically to just get going now. This is not gonna be it. We can say qualifying is complete, and we're gonna need to say complete. Oh, 100 meters short. Is that count? No, it isn't. That's unfortunate. Gabriel Martinez, though, did count 2 laps, and what a lap it was to take pole position in the GTPs. And no Lumber with a good time in the GTOs as well. We do have to go for the GTPs first, though, because Jacob Reed will be second place, and Ozzy Bahakas said he was going to be in the mid-pack. Well, he's third place here to start the race. Jack David Spickett will be fourth. Lars Olsen fifth, with Christopher Lenacek in sixth. Yuko Leskala seventh. Josephine Becker, better performance here in eighth. Diego Mistretta ninth. Mateus Howe will be in 10th, and we've got another page, of course, as David Ricciardi will be in 11th. Alvaro Campos will be in 12th. John Swartz, 13th. The unlucky 13th. Emerson Gordon, 14th, with Kenny Arndt in 15th. Pascal Werstein in 6th. Philip Lake, 17th. Andre Felipe Diaz, 18th. Adrian Fernandez, 19th. Jan Hoffman rounds out your top 20, and just 4 more drivers to go on by, or 5 more drivers, sorry. Sander Babrug will be in 21st. Andrew Bachman will take 22nd. Laura Miser, 23rd. Ben Summers, last at the time, qualifies in 24th. Mateo Johnson did not set a lap time for the 25 GTPs. What about those 26 GTOs?
Well, it's Noel Lundberg, as I said, on pole position with a 104.122 alongside Audrey Valenteus over a 10th behind. Joni Hagner and Mickey Friesen split by exactly a 10th on the second row of the field. And then Andrea Schuster and Josh Brain 5th and 6th. Doug Cloud and Roman Bello, the last 2 in the 104s, and Ian Haycox and Emilio Diciari in 9th and 10th, rounding out the top 10 there with 2 lap times that are split by 0.03 of a second. Then we go to 11th place, Ilka Cotesalo alongside Stefana Leslie, Jacob Naumann and Stefana Fleury, going to be a decent chunk back off that 11th place, but still will be very close together. Then Gregor Breith and Jason Krakowiak split by less than a 100th of a second. Tobin Palak and Brandon White very close together as well. This is going to be a very, very interesting race indeed, because not only are the drivers very close together, they're also very well meshed overall. Henry Vardamaki and Nick Bubats round out the top 20. Again, 200ths of a second between those two, and then Alexander Mackey, William Gary, and then our no lap time on the board qualifiers, DW Holmes, Janis Carpentier, Ruth de Vries, and Dylan Zanis, rounding out a very, very big field.
I think it's the biggest we've had all season, as the races have split. 51 cars. If you're new to the IMSA Vintage series, 55 is the cutoff. Anything over 55, well, we get into 2 splits, and I think some drivers would have liked that today. I don't know what gap the GTOs are going to have. It's going to be very interesting. They're basically starting at McLean's. The last car on the grid is parked up at McLean's to get going. But that just goes to show the length here. Is there's the GTOs going through. That's the last car. That's Dylan Zanis at the back of the field. Gabriel Martinez will control them. Pace car will go in pretty quickly. And that allows Gabri to just go. But remember, because this is this layout, the pit lane still the same. You're going to wait because there's about 50 meters between the pit entry and the start line. So I wonder if Gabri's just going to get everyone jumping right away. No, he holds them. And we go 40 minutes green flag for IMSA Vintage here at Donington. And he does catch everybody napping. You have to keep your eyes now on what the number 6 Wozzy Bahaka does on the cold tires. Jacob Reed around the outside of Redgate gets that stuck. Everybody at the moment, knocking on wood, gets it clean as they come on down through to the Crater Curve. GTOs just hitting the start.
Yeah, Noel Lundberg getting off to a great launch, and so does Audrey Valenteus, which means those two are massively ahead of the rest of the field. However, Emerson Godin in the GTP field, not a good start for him. He's gone off the circuit and will be rejoining in the middle of this pack. We can rejoin safely. There he is. You can see him trying to climb across the grass to cut in the middle of the GTO field, and that is a big crash in the GTPs.
Yeah, Yuko Leskala going in a bit too deep on Lars Olsen there, captured the rear, and I think Leskala then managed to just have a tap there by Josephine Becker. Not sure what damage Josephine picked up. Think she got away with it. Just a 2-car into the gravel. Everything's all right. Lars trying to get on by, but unfortunately for Laust. He's going to have to get through the leaders of the field, and it's Noel Lundberg getting ahead of Audrey Valentea straight away. Stephanie Leslie, I can now report, just going down the timing barrier. They've had a bit of a moment here as the GTOs start to climb on through. They'll be hitting this, and it's a good run from Valenteas. But it means he'll have to go around the outside of Redgate. Outside's actually a really strong place to make a move. Usually outside of any corner's very, oh my God, I can't believe you did it. However, for Redgate, it's a little bit easier because of just the way the track goes. But now you got to choose around the outside of Hollywood and then the inside to the Crater Curves. And the inside to the Crater Curves then opens up to the outside of the old hairpin. And Lundberg gets it sealed.
Yeah, Lundberg making his way into the lead, holding it at the moment as, well, they're right behind them. They do have that GTP that's making his way back through. Laust Olsen allowed the opportunity for the drivers to just sort of filter themselves out. He let them go, and then he knew that he would be able to fight his way back through, and that's exactly what he's trying to do at the moment, splitting Joni Hagner and Audrey Valenteas, as that's the fastest lap of the race. As Christopher Lejeunsac in the mid-pack of the GTPs is the latest one to have problems, so a few problems for our lead group, and that's very, very close indeed. Well avoided in the end. That will be Laura Meiser moving out of the way, and that was a very last-minute switch from the 47, but very well avoided. Stays in 20th with no real damage to the car.
You don't need a pit stop around here, but I think a pit stop for a new pair of underwear might be needed. You could see that Christoph was trying to get the car rolling again, but the car was pointing forward. It was just too much of the grass on the exit there of the Robert chicane, and that just made him just go off track a little bit, and then the cars, he tried to save it, snatched away from him, and nowhere he could have gone. There's Emerson Gordon. I think Emerson would love it to be his birthday today, so we can have a bit more luck out there, but not his birthday. It's only Joseph's, so he's having to just wait on now, and he's having the same issues that Laust Olsen had. He'll come out of McLean's up to Coppice, nowhere really to make this overtake on these cars. He's going to be losing more time, and this is actually a really interesting indicator when you think about the lap traffic when it comes to multi-class, because I'm looking at where the leaders are, that they're basically about to catch up. We're lap 3, we're lap 4. And we're about to get the leaders of GTP hit the back of the GTO field. This is record time for Donington, I must say.
Yeah, it really is, and that's what happens when you have a lap time under a minute. There's going to be about 10 seconds between the two, so it's unsurprising, really, that they are catching up. But the fact that they're catching up so quickly and actually already making their way through is a huge indicator of what is potentially to come, as that's somebody right off the circuit. It was Jacob Norman who's just trying to rejoin, but of course they've hit at the wrong time for him, which means the GTPs will be crossing the line and making their way through on him. Jack David Spickett trying to make his way through on Ossie Bahaka, but he can't quite do so into the first corner. Just really trying to find an opportunity. Might be the inside line, but not quite into Hollywood. And he's still trying to maximise the space on this circuit to find his way through. And it might be the inside line into the next couple of corners, blocked off by the GTO. So it's still trying to search an opportunity for Jack David Spickett as they're getting through on the GTOs. Good opportunities will arise. He just has to snatch them.
And this is where it gets interesting. Different styles, different mentalities when it comes to overtaking. Gabriel Martinez was looking for the hole there on Alexander Mackay. Could not get it. That allows Jacob to come right back up. So what's going to happen when they come to Roberts all of a sudden? Jacob's just going to have to follow. And you think about it. Right now, Jacob is using Gabri. Gabri, imagine it's snow. Imagine the first time you walk out your path with the snow on. First time, it's the worst time to get through. You've got to clear a path. The second time, it's clearer. Well, Gabri's the guy that's walking through the snow the first time. Jacob's the guy that's walking through the snow the second time. That allows him to just keep onto the back of Gabri. Apply some pressure out there. And that's just what he needs. They get a small breather in the middle of this GTO pack. Really good. About 2 seconds as well as he goes on by. I'm looking as well. Ozzy Bahaka's not having the best of time in the background. Just had to serve a slowdown as well. So big time moment. And look at that. That's an important overtake for Jacob Reed.
Jacob Reed's managing this incredibly well. Even into the first corner, he was being nice and patient. He stuck himself behind Gregor Breit, knowing that he didn't have to make the moves. Further back there's a spin for Alexander Mackie and Stefan Leslie further down in the GTO field. So there is lots of mistakes coming out from these drivers. It appears from our information that it is very, very difficult to drive these cars. It's such a challenge to keep it nice and manage when you're trying to race with somebody else. And you just have to think about it very closely. Off the road, and hopefully out of everybody's way. I think that was Jason Krakowiak. And, well, more problems further down in the bottom of the GTP field. They are really struggling with these cars today.
Yeah, and I think as well, just a tight track, tough to really make some moves, and the top three still together out there. And, yeah, this is a very tricky track, and I'd love to know who made Mother Nature work, because the track temp's 32 Celsius, 90 Fahrenheit. Sim time is April 18th. This is the UK. Why is it that hot? That's not right. Jack Davis Bickett getting past Ozzy Bahaka through the traffic as well, and Ozzy's going to try and fight this, but Ozzy's going backward. That's Josephine Becker now fighting. Elbows out as they go side by side down the back straight to the hairpin, the chicane, sorry. And Josephine with a very late move on Doug Cloud. Never going to work, Josephine. That almost took out 3 cars race. Manages to keep it going. That's a little bit of... I would say, tunnel vision, as they say, Joseph. Trying to think too much about the car behind you instead of the cars in front.
Yeah, it's so very difficult to keep it where you're worrying about everybody all at once and very tight. For Matthias Havdalah, who's made his way through in the end on the GTOs and will continue to have to do so. I'd imagine they'll be lapping them, considering the fact that we are only about 15 minutes into this race. I'd imagine they're going to be lapping them at least 3 more times throughout the course. They've got 3 more opportunities to really have a problem, as Ozzy Bahaka has a problem on the exit of the corner. Josephine Becker has an opportunity to get a little bit closer, but isn't going to get all right up in the back just yet. Doesn't feel the need to do so, and I don't blame at all, because of course with the nature of this circuit, it's very, very fast, it's very, very flowing. There will be more mistakes and then you can pounce, but what will happen is you have different approaches into the corners, and that can really cost you a lot of time if you're running right behind somebody, as Ozzy has dropped that position in the end to Becker and is now fighting Havdalah as well.
He decided to run over the curves a bit too much, did Ozzy, as we're looking at Yuko Lesko in the number 5 car, continuing his battle, trying to get back up the field after that incident on a little bit of a recovery drive right now. Got Elena Jack and Philip Lake. Philip Lake in a GTP. It's been a while we said that, as he's battling on as well. Diego Mastretta in front of them in 11th position. Also just going on by, got some cars right behind. And Diego's now trying to battle on, but he's got a lot of damage on that rear wing. Not entirely sure where he picked that up. He's had that damage for quite a while now, and I wonder if a car's gone into the back of him, or he's had some moments. Maybe it was just a little bit of slowing down for some traffic or getting bumped out. But yeah, it was someone just going a bit faster than him, as Jacob Reed back onto the attack right now on Gabriel Martinez. And, well, you blink once, you're through the traffic. They're about to hit the traffic again. And I feel Jacob's closer this time, that we could be seeing him looking to make one of those moves to try and get the lead.
Yeah, where does he go through, though, is the question on his lips and on his mind as well. There will be opportunities, but it's just about where he decides to take them and where he decides to extract that pace that he has at the moment, which, of course, is so very, very good indeed. And over the last few laps, he's been matching Gabri. That might be a sign that they are on similar pace. That might also be a sign that he feels as though he's being held up, and he feels as though he's a little bit quicker than the Spaniard. We'll see where these two go to race. Huge slide from Jacob Reed out of the final corner. I was going to say, if there was anywhere that he'd make his way through, it would be into Red Gate at turn 1. No such luck this time around.
That was a good save. In all due fairness, I thought for a moment he was a goner. A car kicking out that much would be tough to grab, and he grabbed the wheel, and yeah, he's lost a second, but he's still alive, so that's one good thing. Kenny Hart as well, still alive. Good drive here from Kenny. And not a driver we see normally, up 3 places. Jan Hoffman right behind him, and the German's looking to just hold on. He's got this special Toyota livery on the side of him, but Campos gets on past him. He's got one livery, and where's Campos gone? Where's Campos? Oh, no. Kenny, that's not a place to make a move. Noel Lumbo just getting pushed off the road. I don't know what damage Lumbo's got, but he's lost a lot of time to Balotellas. That was never on there, Kenny.
Yeah, it's when you have tracks like this where it's difficult to find a spot, you can see moves like that where it's big risks taken, and Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. Mickey Friesen chasing in at the top of this GTO field, trying to go on the back of Joni Hagner as we get our first GSRC replay of the day. What happened to Jacob Reed out of the final corner? Too much curbing for the Worcester man, and that has really cost him as he really tried to potentially keep it flat out as soon as he got back onto the power on the exit of the final corner, and he's going to have to recover himself, but now over a second behind Martinez.
Yeah, but, you know, he's making the time up. Lundberg's going to have to try and make the time up, but that's a big gap now. There's Valenteus, and 1, 2. We see cars in the pit front have a little bit of an incident there at the old hairpin. I was trying to kind of just show you the gap between Valenteus, Lundberg, Hagner, and Friesen as Diego Mestretas had a little moment out there. The number 27 gone by. William Gary is well gone by as well, but a lot of incidents going out there. I think Alberto Campos as well, one of the drivers caught up there. He's gone into the pit, so the field will start to thin themselves out as I think that pressure cooker of IMSA Vintage will start to just affect people. Philip Lake, well, he doesn't need a pressure cooker. He is the pressure cooker as Jan Hoffman goes off, has to take a slowdown. So he'll take that slowdown. Let's have a, he'll probably get this overtake done. We got a replay getting ready for this. Just make to see that Philip gets this done. Jan Hoffman's going to try and fight this, and well, can't get that sorted on the outside of the corner. Elena Jack will probably try to follow in as well, and he does indeed. Hoffman yields. Let's look at that quick replay. This is what happened to William Gary.
Yeah, let's see from 49 what happened. Is there contact between himself and, well, in fact, in the end, I don't know if there was contact initially between the 49 and the GTP behind, but after all of that, it just looked as though the 27 wasn't quite expecting the 49 to be as slow in the corner as they were, and then just had a bit of a slide and was caught.
Yeah, and oh no, Ozzy, that's too much damage, Ozzy. What has happened to Bahaka? Has he caught a car, or has he made a moment out there? And, oh, I'm just having a look right now. We'll probably get it on the GSRC replay. Oh, this is bad. This is a really questionable move by everybody. He comes into the pit. We're going to wait to see the instant replay here, because this is some real seat at the pants moments. Yes, very much disappointing for Aussie, who of course had a meatball flag. Josephine Becker in the pit lane as well, so contact between the two drivers not working out for either of them, which is a shame because they both had the pace to do something in this race, but alas, that is not the case. That promotes now John Schwartz to 4th place, Pascal Vision to 5th, and Davide Ricciardi to 6th as they try to fight it out. This is the fight now into the top 10. Christopher Legendsack right in behind Philip Lake and Kenny Arndt for 8th place. Joni Hagner fighting for the podium in the GTO field. He is right on the back of Lundberg for 2nd place. Yeah, he's on the back as well. I can confirm that was an incident with Bahaka, Becker, and a GTO car going into the old hairpin. Not entirely sure who was at fault there, but it looked like some drivers just getting caught out by the speed differences. As I think we've got the replay now lined up, and this is Ozzy Bahaka coming on by, and there's Josephine Becker, and he gained some air, hitting the number 30 car though, and the number 30 car is Nick Bubats, and I wonder if he just wasn't prepared. Either he wasn't prepared for Nick to be there, or he just wasn't aware of the speed differences. A very weird moment from a veteran like Ozzy, and I know that's got to be a mistake one way or another, but that was some serious airtime. There is another GTO in the background of the leaders here. Joni Hagner battling for P3, of course, and for P2 with Lundberg and Mickey Friesen behind them. Just having a few more drivers go by. I've lost count what number of overtakes we are now on the GTO field for the GTPs. Everyone is very spread out on this track. They very much are, and the answer would be lots, as Ossie, who tried to do his best impression of a flying Finn, of course, back out, or he will be very, very soon, of the pit and back into the field, as that's Josephine Becker, in fact, rejoining from the pit lane. Kenny Arndt in behind Philip Lake at the moment, trying to find a gap into the first corner, but the defences are just too strong. Is this where he can use the traffic to his defence or attack? Either one of them for both of these drivers, as it is just going to be net neutral for Arndt and for Jukka Leskila in behind, who's trying to find a chance. Does look as the inside, but of course there's nowhere to go through at the moment. Outside potentially, which turns into the inside for the next corner. This is where it's going to get very tight
with Yannis Carpentier just trying to take his racing line. But because the GTPs can brake so much later, they enter the corner one car. They leave it potentially 3.
Yeah, you can still brake hard in these cars, but you can't brake as late as you used to, as Yuko Leskola trying to use this momentum now to try and get a run in. I think Kenny's just down on top speed, but Yuko cannot make that move. It's good little defense there from Kenny. Might have been 2 moves. I think that could be classed as 1. Nothing changed. I'll tell you what, Pascal Werstein, we haven't talked a lot about us, but seeing how Yuko's going a bit too hard through the crane of curves there, and yeah, he's going to have to rebuild to get that top 10. I was just saying, we haven't talked a lot about Pascal Weirstein, as we've seen Jacob still battling Gabriel Martinez. Up 11 places today. These two have not moved one bit. And by the way, I can report Yuko Leskola finally getting past Kenny Arndt. A little traffic helping out there, as Martinez really could use some traffic right now. Jacob is one of the best drivers to navigate through traffic.
Yes, he certainly is, and he's making the most of that right now, as he's just 5/10 off the back of Gabriel Martinez. That gap has gone up and down throughout the course of this race, because of course that one mistake he made earlier on, but it's never gone above 1.2 seconds between the top 2 drivers, which shows the pressure that Jacob Reed's holding on to the back of Gabriel Martinez at the moment. A very, very good run for the Briton as he tries to attack the Spaniard right at the very top of the field. Very, very good pressure put on so far, but he cannot afford to crack, nor can Gabri, as well, of course, we've seen a couple of drivers at the top of the field have those meatballs, have those moments, and then drop down. Case in point, Josephine Becker, who's 21st in the class, and 32nd overall now from what was a fight for the podium. Jacob Reed going through, and well, you can see the pace that they can gather up there, and you can kind of understand why we saw Leskola on the last lap going very, very wide, because it almost feels as though it could be flat out.
I mean, in some cars it is. In these old cars with no TC, no ABS, you know, you don't have that luxury, and you have to rely on, well, for these cars, you have to rely on that ground effect downforce-esque package they've got. The GTOs just have to hope on mechanical grip, but they're four-wheel drive, they're all-wheel drive, sorry. So they have to be a little bit more careful. Jacob really attacking there through the curves. We go now to Doug Cloud, still battling hard. He's looking to try and get past Ilo Chari. It's always tough in these cars. I think it's tougher for these GTOs to really look to make moves out there, because it's not really a lot of overtaking spots in a GT car around here. And I think British touring cars here this weekend, so that's going to be interesting. Yeah, because the British F4s were around here as well. So yeah, it's really tough to make overtakes around here in cars like this. And when you think about the Audi GTOs, they give you that DTM vibe I've said before. So where do you look for overtakes? And Doug knows how to. He's got a trick to late brake in a GTO. It's tough. He almost utilized it there. Not the best place. It's a David Ricciardi. Everyone's going off. Ricciardi's had a moment. There goes Pascal. Pascal, the track's to the left. What on earth has happened?
Yeah, he was just really struggling to get back on the power. I think he felt as though there was more grip on the grass than there actually was. And in the end, it was just trying to recover himself in the end, as we're going to get another GSRC replay potentially of what happened to those drivers just there. Indeed, we are Pascal in the very colourful number 17. What has happened to him on the exit of the first corner? That's contact between himself and the car in front. And just a slide out of the first corner is not going to help either of them. But the 17 trying to quickly recover onto the circuit has actually meant that he spent more time on the green than on the grey in the first sort of segment.
Yeah, the golf's at the Crucible. It's not the snooker's at the Crucible. Sorry, the golf needs a little bit more flat stuff there. Gary's off as well. Doug Cloud's on a moment. He's had to take a tow. Another car just going off there. I think the tyres are starting to just play havoc here. Drivers probably overcooking the tyres a little bit out here today. And I will say, when I saw that moment with Pascal, as he's gone into the pit, I've never seen one of the park picker liveries on a car. Let's go to GSRC replay. I think this might be the Doug Cloud moment. Doug's here's got already got a lot of damage. Comes on by, and whoa, that's an interesting one. That almost looks like a change of speed, not preparing for. That was William Gary. We did see tow. I wonder if that was Gary just slowing down to control the car. Probably the way he took the corner, and Doug completely caught out there. He almost dukes of hazard it.
I don't understand how they can get... Surely that's got to be some sort of netcode between the two drivers, because it didn't look like they made all too much contact. But in the end, a massive incident between the two. And, well, Doug just having a little bit of airtime, just like we saw Rossi a couple of laps ago. So just adding to the collection. Hopefully nobody else does as we head through with 20 minutes or 19 minutes now left to go in this session. 6/10 between the top two in the GTP field. This is slightly further down. Davide Ricciardi chasing Legensack for that 6th place as they make their way. They carve their way through the GTO field once again. And in fairness, the majority of the management of traffic today has been absolutely pinpoint perfect, from both the GTOs getting overtaken to the GTPs who are the ones going through. And in the end, of course, they are managing to maximise what they can do between the two. Audrich Valenteas maximising his pace at the moment, 2.1 seconds up, and he's crept away a little bit from Noel Lundberg, slightly, a little bit more out of sight than they would have been expecting.
Yeah, and I'm looking as well, like the timing tower a few laps ago, but second down to 5th were basically in a queue together in the GTOs, and now they're all split out here. As well, that's a car just having a little bit of a slide in the background, probably gonna pick it up there. Rude's gonna go up there, hopefully doesn't leave any debris on the track, but he is going to stay on the track, as De Vries, as he continues on, gets that car slowed down. The Audi Quattro helping him as Jacob Reed goes on by, and this is basically the closest battle on the track, aside for Yuka Costosalo and Fulton Pollock, and it's the leaders, Jacob Reed, continuing to push on as he just is not getting any good luck with the traffic right now. And because they're not in the groups like they were, and lap cars having to work with the same class and overtake them, and this is where Jacob's starting to struggle a bit here. Gabri has commanded the traffic, which I've got to admit, this is something we say a lot, especially when Jacob's right behind. Jacob's only put 1 foot wrong this whole race, and credit to Joseph, he made all that time back up. It's just the traffic is really working against him today.
And that's exactly why we can see the gaps between the top two and the rest of the field, but then the gap between Martinez and Reed. So at the moment, if you were to have a look at, well, the gap between Jacob Reed and, for example, Havdal down in 5th place, the gap would be up to 28 seconds, but the gap between Reed and Martinez, under a second. So they both worked their way through the field incredibly, but of course, Gabri just done it a little bit better, and it is those tiny gains that you can make that will pay off right at the very end of the race. But of course, we've seen a mistake from Reed, but you could be seeing a mistake from Martinez once again. They are not invulnerable to those kinds of things, but at the moment they've been pinpoint perfect. And sometimes when they have the most pinpoint perfect races, these things can go wrong. Mostly because we are complimenting them, we're lauding them up, and then suddenly commentator's curse comes into effect.
You're lauding them up, I'm just commentating. No, it's the same thing for both of us, as well as Roman Bello trying to battle Josh Brain. How many times have we seen these guys have a battle? And it feels like every couple of weeks we see these two get together. They have a bit of fun. It may not be at the front of the field, it's in the middle of the top 10. They're still having some fun. Emilio De Chari also in a little bit of a battle right now. He's recovering, of course, the Argentinian. He's had a good run as Emilio continues on. The number 29 car. He's got Fulton Pollock right behind him. Ilka Costosalo as well, battling as well behind them in also distinctive liveries. And now everything's just closing up again in terms of these packs. And crazy enough, it's crazy. I've just looked at the time. There's only 15 minutes left to go. So I think everyone's going to start to be a little bit squeaky bum time out there to start to be aggressive. Emilio's really happy where he is. Good drive here. Fulton Pollock up 8 places. Yannis Carpentier behind these guys is up 13 places just by keeping that car clean. Sometimes keeping the car clean is the name of the game.
Yes, it very much is. It very much is, including I mean, that's just the way that this kind of racing goes. You have to keep it clean, and then you'll find yourself in the perfect position. Jacob Reed with the cleanest lap, Philip Lake with not, as he's off the road, as is another one of them, Andrew Blackman as well. So those two having what looks like potentially a tangle, as one goes round and goes round again, Philip Lake. so struggling to get back onto the circuit in a good position. So overcooking the tyres potentially, and then maybe just getting a little bit too stressed. Huge moments. They're out of the way of the leaders, but very, very close indeed. Good avoiding in the end. I believe that was from Andrew Blackman to get out of the way and to let the two GTP leaders through, but that was very squeaky bums.
Yeah, I think I'll be asking Gabri and Jacob for the lottery numbers after that. They got a little bit lucky. We're going to see this right now. Andrew Blackman just comes on by. Here he comes to the old hairpin. Got a car right beside him. Oh, I know that the camber of the elevation changes pushes the car to the left a little bit there. I think Philip didn't expect him to cycle out that far to the right, and that's caught out a number of drivers today. As we'll see Jacob and we'll see Gabri go through it, and look, you're able, once you come out the crater curves, keep it to the left as much as you can. Some of the drivers not doing that. Gabri with an excuse me overtake there on DW. Not what he wanted to see. They're going to have a lap car right here. Gabri goes into aggressive mode there. Real good attack there to get past Miser. But Jacobs follow. It's the snow again. I know we're in April. It was snowing in Colorado yesterday. Gabri's going to be walking through the snow in Colorado. Jacob's going to be saying, thank you very much. I'll follow the path behind you.
A two-horse race for the lead. He is doing that at the moment. Jacob Reed, very, very close. Can he find his way through into the first corner on the racetrack? This is where he's going to seek the chance, I think, because this is the best overtaking opportunity, but not on this lap. He didn't quite get the exit over Gabri Martinez. Don't forget, it's open setups, so they can do what they like with it, whether it's going to be higher straight line speed or lower for the drivers. And it looks as though Jacob Reed has been quicker in the corners, so it looks as though he might have to make it so much. It's going to be so much more work for him to make his way through on Gabri Martinez for the lead of this pack. And, well, I think he's going to have to utilise the traffic very close in behind now and potentially going to be alongside, but I think just blocked in by the GTOs. And it's going to be very tight indeed for Martinez, making his way through on the 28 of Turban Palek and then the 29 of Emilio Gucciari. But both through once again, and Reed just that tiny little bit closer.
A little bit closer. There was a spun GTO at the Roberts chicane. He got rolling as well, so that's good to see. As those three drivers, Corbin Pollock, I think, may have just got caught out there as every other driver. Emilio, sorry, it was Nico Cotasalo, sorry, as Gucciari and Pollock managed to get advantage, but Cotasalo catches back up there. Jacob Reed still pushing, still looking, and you start looking at the black box, and everything on that black box now, the relative is going to be blue. Not even a white. Literally, they're the only two cars that are going to have white between the two of them right now when they're battling. They'll see two blue numbers coming up very shortly in Roman Bello and Josh Brain, who they're just having fun out there. Do you blame them? They love battling here. It's almost like a little bit of bragging right between the two of them. But Gabri's going to say, hang on 1 second. Might have to send this free wide because Brain's gone a little bit wide there onto the grass. Everybody free wide for a moment. Everybody calms down. Roman Bello takes that position away from Josh Brain. And no! Brain's gone around! How many times do you flirt with the curve there? And he's gone around in the worst possible way. He does have damage. He's got a big gap to Jack David Spickett. But that looks like the win belongs to Gabri Martinez with 11 minutes left.
Certainly does. Can't be that bad damage because Jacob Reed had the chance to go into the pit lane, but he has just taken the sausage curbing. That's what happened when he had that bit of a slide. So he had a warning shot earlier on, but Jacob Reed taking too much of the sausage curb, trying to put the power down, and then he span the car around. Very, very unfortunate indeed for the man who's worked so hard to keep the pressure on. But it was about who blinked first between the top two, and it was Jacob Reed who blinked and who will now try to take it to the end of the race in second place. Decent buffer back to Jack David Spickett, but I think his heart rate will be a little bit heightened. I think he's just going to have to calm himself down as Kenny Arndt off of the road. More grass cutting for these GTPs, and well, he's going to rejoin in the circuit in 16th place behind Ben Summers. And wow, there's been so many moments like that today for the GTPs. It's almost as though they're a little bit unsettled at every single moment that they have to race, and well, they will be hoping to avoid it as much as they can.
I'm trying to wonder if they need a GPS tracker out there, or if they've decided that they want to do some landscaping and cut the grass, because a lot of drivers going off today, as you were saying. Yeah, I think a lot of it just not prepared for the tightness of the track, trying to push the car where it's not really a place you can push us. we head to the final 10 minutes of the race. Valenteus, look at the gap. He's got 3 seconds to Lundberg. And again, Lundberg had that moment. Here's William Gary, another moment here for the 49. And oh, in front of a little bit of a speed difference there, in front of Noel Lundberg. So yeah, Lundberg's been in the walls today, not on his own accord. He got smashed into the side by a GTP. And now, well, he's given the tap there to another GTO. No damage, thankfully, but the gap's 3 seconds, and I can't really see, knock on wood, can't see him catching Valenteus right now. Here's Emerson Gordon. He's still battling, and some of these drivers are now a lap down. Jan Hoffman, Emerson Gordon, the first drivers, a lap down in the GTPs, but Emerson, he's really struggling with the traffic to try and catch back up to Hoffman. Catch up step 1, overtake step 2, step 3 is question mark, step 4, profit.
But in fairness, the way that he's done so far this race, he's of course had his problems at the start, and he's made his way back up through the GTO field and now finds himself in the middle of the GTP field. So fair play to him, as that's very far off the road for Jan Hoffman in behind Gordon. Of course, we get the opportunity to see some of the drivers per lap, and he is going to be on our screens right now, so we can see the perspective outside of the car and inside, as well as Emerson racing his way through the last 8 minutes of this session. And he's had a good recovery drive, but he'll feel as though there was a little bit more in this race for himself. But currently 9th place, just inside the top 10, so a decent race, all things considered, as Kenny Arndt, black flag into the pit lane.
Yeah, I think that's our first drive-through for incidents out there. So that's going to... We said it was going to happen today, with the way the track is, with the way the number of drivers out there today, always looked like it was going to happen. Brandon White battling Yanis Carpenter right here. And, of course, Yanis up 13. Yes, 13 positions from the back of the field. Really driving a very smart race out here. Actually, Nick Bubats with a black flag for incident points. That's a weird one. You don't see that every now and then. So, actually, with the incident points, or was it something else? But he's been disqualified regardless. Yanis continues on through, looking to attack, looking to find opportunities. And this is where it gets tough for these drivers, because if you've got the experience, like a Valenteus, like a Lundberg, you know where the Audis work to make moves. If you don't drive this car regularly, and I'm not attacking these drivers, of course, if you're not using this car regularly, you're going to go for attacks that your feet work in these cars because you've tried it in a GT3, or if you're like Elena Jack, because you've tried it in an LMP2 or a GT or a modern day hypercar. It doesn't work in these cars, and I think that's also one of the reasons what we've seen a few incidents today, catching a lot of drivers out. Yeah,
it's potentially just a bit of an unpredictable car from themselves. That have just been racing through and just trying to learn as they go, which is why we've seen the mistakes get less and less throughout the course of the race. Of course, they're still making mistakes, but there are significantly less than there were earlier on, because they've now picked the points where they can push, picked the points where they cannot push, because of course sometimes you can in some cars and sometimes you cannot, and it's just about trial and error for some of these drivers out there racing through those big shunts in front of these drivers. And I think that was a GTO into the back of a GTP, so that was just a little bit more airtime for a third car here today.
Yeah, it was Stander Brugger going into the back of Andrew Blackman. I think Andrew wasn't prepared. No, he actually just lost the car himself, and then unfortunately there for Stander, nowhere to go, and everyone having to do a little bit of avoidance here. Lena Jack now going to try and fight for this move. We might get an on-track overtake for position right now as Lena Jack gets it done, as David Ricciardi cannot hold it. Mechanical Grip said, I can't do any more. And Christop's going to try and put one, maybe two cars behind him. No, Ricciardi with late braking tries to fight this, and they both come together there. That's a little bit sloppy by both drivers involved there. Everyone gets on by, but yeah, I mean, the move from Ricciardi was on there, real good with the late braking, but it did feel like they were both, oh, they both spun around again. Oh no. Oh, and that is cold tires, hot tires, sorry, overheated tires, trying to get back on the throttle, and both of them have spun around, and what was a 2-car accident has turned into a 4, maybe 5-car accident. Ilka Costasalo, the other GTO that got caught in it.
Yeah, and this is what I was talking about earlier on with Jacob Reed and trying to get your head down after a mistake or a moment for yourself. It's just about trying to maybe not go at the maximal pace straight away, just 75% to try and pick yourself up. But of course, if you do get a little bit stressed, you don't think quite so clearly in the moment, and that potentially is what has happened there with the drivers just trying to get themselves back underway and racing once again. A GSRC replay for ourselves with Turban Palak in the 28, and well, we'll see where the contact came. And there, I mean, he did well to avoid one, but it was inevitable that there would be contact with somebody else, with one of the GTPs in the end. Turban Palak, unfortunate, but nowhere to go.
Well, I mean, yeah, nowhere to go. It was almost like almost like that famous moment in Indiana Jones. You've got Sean Connery going, well, they don't come closer to that, and then the bomb just comes straight on down in front of them. Managed to get past the frying pan, but the fire awaited him, and that was so unfortunate. So, just not helping here. Now, here's Ilka Costasalo. Here's what he's going to see. Going to come to the scene of the crime. Comes to the old bridge. There's nowhere for him to go. There's literally, I don't think if Ilka hit the brakes, he could slow down in time. I don't think if Ilka could go to the grass, he'd be able to control the car through the Starkeys bridge there. I think he had nowhere else to go. And I think he just had to take the path. That was it, really. Unfortunately there for Ilka. So unfortunate. I'm keeping my eyes. I know there's 3 minutes ago, as we see Roman Bellows still battling with Josh Brain. A little bit of a palate cleanser after today. I'm still keeping my eyes on Jacob Reed. As I say that, he's just got held up in traffic. He managed to pull a lot of time back from Gabriel Martinez with 3 minutes ago. Not going to be able to really catch up anything else now, because, yeah, there's Diego Mastretta. And give Diego credit, Joseph. I know it's blue flags. I know they're advisory here. It's not like F1. Nowhere for Diego to pull off there.
No, absolutely not. And, well, it's all on the GTPs to try and make their way through. And it's very much self-regulated, which can be difficult sometimes. As Jacob Reed, in fairness to him, has managed to catch up to Gabriel Martinez, but of course it won't be enough. He's halved the gap from what it was when they first had the gap split out, and it was about 9.5 seconds, down to 4.9 now for Martinez and Jack David Spickett's in third place, 10 seconds off still. So the top two, very much the pace of the field here today. And the GTPs split more than they usually would, but that is the nature of such a tight, twisty circuit like this, when you have to make your way through and manage the traffic. And that is probably the skill that matters the most here, even more than the racing itself. It's about the management of the traffic and who can you make your way through. And it's a rare thing to think about for some of these drivers, where they're expecting for the drivers just to be offline, or maybe they can just go around them. But at a circuit like today, at a circuit like Donington Park National, they really, really have to think about it. And this will be one of the most tiring races on the calendar for them.
Yeah, tiring as well, because this is a short race here. It's going to be 42 laps for the lead GTPs out there today. It's going to be about 37 on the dime for the GTOs as Jack goes on by him. It goes to show the pace, but not only Jacob, but Gabri has shown that Jack's 15 seconds behind Martinez. Traffic's not helped him, but the pace that Martinez is showing is big. I'm looking at the timing tower again. Gabri's been held up by more traffic. He's just lost a second. Never say never with a minute left to go in the races. Swartz here. We haven't talked a lot about John, as he's still there, 3 seconds ahead of Mateus Hadval. Real good driving by him today as well. Gabriel Martinez, though, will be getting ready. I think he's only got, well, a few corners left before he comes to take the white flag. Yeah, it looks to be the case with 55 seconds left to go. Gabriel Martinez is going to take us on to what will be the final lap. And he's just remained so very consistent throughout the course of the race, has the 8. He's been unbelievable, warding off all that pressure from Jacob Reed throughout the course of this race, and keeping up the pace all throughout. He has been absolutely sensational, and his management of traffic, his management of the cars behind has been absolutely perfect. This is going to be a thoroughly deserved victory for Gabriel Martinez. Of course, he's got one more lap to make sure that he can do it. And he's still got quite a few cars to get through in order to do it. But as we say, short lap. It is the final lap, though, and it looks as though it'll be Gabriel Martinez in the GTPs and Valenteus in the GTOs. I think he's going to be able to just get this by now. Just a few more corners left to go. Navigate the traffic. Valenteus is the second up the road. So this is basically going to be it. I don't think he'll get past Valenteus to finish so Valenteus may have to go around one more time on his own. We'll wait and see, but he's got such a big lead. He could slow down for Gabri Marquez, but Gabri from light to flag is going to take the victory. Valenteus is saying, please get by me. I don't want to go around again. He will get on by. I don't know if Valenteus has to go by once again. He does not. Valenteus takes a second. I can't remember the last time I've seen the leaders of both classes cross the line at the same time. Jacob Reed will get the third. Noel Lundberg will get the second. Well, sorry, Jacob Reed will get the second. Noel Lundberg will get the second as well. Joni Hagner will be coming up closely. Jack Davis-Spicky gets on by. You know, I'm just looking. I think every driver in first, second, and third have just crossed the line at the same time. Trying to see if we've got any battles at the end. Josh Brain and Roman Bello at the very end did have a very tight line, and there they are right now. That's a very close finish. Roman Bello gets it. You'll have to have a look at that one for the line, because it almost looked like they went side by side through the chicane. They've had some great racing today.
They certainly have, and that's what's good about the IMSA Vintage series. We've got 51 cars, of course, out there, but it can still provide some incredible races and some incredible fights between two drivers that might not necessarily be shown as more drivers come to the line. There's always action going on in the IMSA Vintage series, and it's one of the most incredible ones to watch as, well, Henry Vadamaki comes to the line in 12th place in the GTO field as the last few drivers come to the line and finish their races. It was a hard race for them as, well, there goes Audrius Valenteus straight lining, keeping control almost all the way through and just celebrating with a smash with the wall, which is something unique to sim racing.
Yeah, I think everyone's started to see that ever since the iRacing highlight from Barcelona of these guys a few seasons ago. Is now they're just smashing the car in celebration instead of doing burnouts. Gabri Martinez looking to try and, well, he won't be doing burnouts, he'll be doing celebrations today. He won the race. 3.4 seconds to Jacob Reed out there today, as Jacob had a little bit of a moment out there, made a good recovery, but traffic didn't work for him. Jack Davis-Spicky went up into third place today. And John Swartz up 9 places to fourth. Mateus Hadval fifth. Yuko Leskola will be sixth. Emerson Gordon, the first car a lap down, not because of incidents, just a lap down in seventh. Lars Olsen will be eighth. Philip Lake will take ninth. Jan Hoffman goes up 10 to 10. And Andre Felipe Diaz goes only 7 up to 11. Ben Summers will be in 12th. Laura Meyer will be 2 laps down in 13th. Josephine Becker had to take some repairs. She came back out in 14th. David Ricciardi did retire early in 15th. Christopher Leinderjack retired as well, 16th. Ozzy Bahaka took the damage, came back out, finished 17th. Sander Babruga retired 18th. Diego Mastretta came back out 19th. Andrew Blackman retired in 20th. And then the last 5 drivers out there, Kenny Arndt did actually come back out. He finished 23rd. Pascal Werstein actually also came out as well, 22nd. Mateo Johnson retired in 23rd. And then Alvaro Carpos and Adrian Fernandez both retired in 24th and 25th, respectively. For the GTOs, a little bit different.
Yeah, and it's always good to see drivers coming back out of the lane, but it's Audrius Valenteus who took the victory. Of course, Noel Lundberg in second place, and again, the top 2 with a big gap to the rest of the field. Joni Hagner coming home in third place, and Mickey Friesen in fourth. Andreas Schuster will come home in fifth place, and Roman Bello and Josh Brain, as you say, very close together, and it was under 0.35 at the end between the two for 6th and 7th. Emilio Diciari, the last driver on the lead lap, and Yanis Carpentier and Brandon White, 1 down on Audrius Valenteus, and just what a race the Ukrainian had to go with a gap to those drivers who, of course, still in the top 10 but a lap down. Stefano Fleury in 11th place, and Henry Vadamaki 1 lap down as well. And then Jason Krakowiak, DW Holmes, Alexander Mackie, Ruud de Vries, Turban Palek, Ilkat Gotesalo, Nick Bubat, and Ian Haycock to round out the top 20, of course. 13th down to 16th, 2 laps down. And these drivers, 17 up to 38 laps down. That's Gregor Braith. William Gary, who, of course, didn't have the greatest of days, was a bit unlucky at points. Jacob Naumann in 23rd. Doug Cloud, Stefano Leslie, and Dylan Zanis to round out our 26-strong GTO field.
That's going to be the standings done, and we've got some drivers waiting outside the booth. First of all, we're going to get to a man. It's not usual we talk to a driver a lap down, but he's the first man a lap down, and he made 7 places up to come to 7th. Emerson Gordon here with us in the booth. And Emerson, that looked a very chaotic race, but that's chaotic by normal standards for IMSA Vintage out there. 51 cars. Looked like you were just trying to play survival out there.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I got spun in turn 1, so I was behind the Audi field from lap 1. So to come back to P7 is, yeah, pretty good. Pretty happy with that one.
So you could argue that you've lapped more GTOs today than anybody else because you've had to basically overtake them to get back on the lead lap. So what is the traffic like here? We've seen a lot of drivers struggle through the crane of curves with multi-class, also through McLean's. It looked like the difference of speed was catching a lot of drivers out today. Did you find that yourself?
It's not too bad. I feel like it can go really smoothly, but then if you catch an Audi in like the worst place, like in the little kink, I think that's the crane of curves, isn't it? Then you just get slowed down for like 3 seconds. But otherwise, you can just launch it everywhere. I think the key is just launching it and committing to it, because it's pretty sketchy.
I like how the man who does track guys, you're just asking me, that is the start crane of curves, isn't it? Yeah, just the man, it's if you haven't checked out his track guide, by the way, folks, they're fantastic. Mo, it's always good though to see, this strength of a field. There's also this high field. You didn't really get much of a battle. You held off Laus Olsen. COTA next week. That's going to be a very different affair because you go from a track that's too tight to a track that, I don't know if you agree, probably a bit too wide for these cars.
I don't know. I quite like COTA. I know it's controversial. A lot of people don't like it. I've driven it in the Nissan before, and it's pretty fun. I think it's much worse than the Audi, though. But yeah, with the downforce, it really helps in the twisty bits.
I will say that they have updated the track limit, so that might also give the drivers a little bit more of a leeway. Well, I know it's not your birthday. I know everyone's saying it's your birthday. But before we let you go, any shout-outs to anyone in the community?
Yeah, just pretty much everyone. Thanks for the birthday wishes, guys. That's in 3 months, but, it's always good to get them in early. Thanks, Christoph, for the setup. It was really nice. And as always, thank you to Mickey, just for being a nice human.
Well, like I said before, it's not your birthday, it's Joseph's birthday, so we'll be celebrating in him regardless, Emerson. But congratulations on the P7. We look forward to seeing you next week at COTA.
Thank you very much, and happy birthday, Joseph, as well.
There we go. Happy birthday there to Joseph as well, Emerson, who finished in 7th. And we've got one of the GTO drivers just coming in as well, Milo Dachari, who finished in 8th on the lead lap still. He's alongside Joseph for the interview.
Yeah, Emilio, of course, we didn't catch much of you in the end on the broadcast. But how was that race from your perspective?
Well, it was really chaotic. I'm happy because, like Craig said, it was the last lap on the lead lap, and I have a really good battle or good holding to Dog in the first half of the race, because he was really quick, more than me, and I tried everything to keep him behind, and it was a crazy race because many GTPs doing many dive bombs in some places, and I say I can't believe that I'm still alive. And yeah, in the last lap, and the last I think was 36 lap, there was a problem with Davide, Christoph, I don't know, and I went through all that, and Torben and the guys behind me crash, and I say, okay, I need now the checkered flag because I don't gonna end this race with another situation like this. And yeah, I'm really happy because it's again my best result on a broadcast, so really happy.
Yeah, it's very much. It looked very exciting. It looked very difficult throughout the course of it. But what sort of mindset do you have to take into a race like this, where you kind of know that it's going to be chaos going in?
From the start, when I did a good qualifying, I started in the P10, I guess. I know that I don't gonna have many pace to go more on the front, so I know that I had to be paceful with my own pace lap, and I know that it will be enough to be there in the P10, P11, and yeah, my mindset was be as much as I can to be patience on this race because I know that it's gonna be chaotic. So yeah, I think my mindset was that to be peaceful with everything and with everyone, because I know that this is gonna be a difficult one, and it works for me.
Yeah, of course we will. It was a very good race indeed to watch from a spectator's perspective. Next week, Kota, what are your thoughts on that one?
Oh, it will be a difficult one as well, because there are many places that the Audi will be really fast, and also for the Nissan. And when the difficult situation went through in that track, will be interesting to see, because yeah, the SS, the hairpin, you know, many places, and they will more chaotic than here in Donington. But for sure, we will be fine.
Yeah, all good. Well, we look forward to seeing you next week, Emilio. Thank you very much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you so much, guys, for the broadcast. Thank you.
Yeah, the Chari there, who finished in 8th place, and that is going to be it for the day. So I want to give a shout out to the IMSA Vintage community for bringing us back once again. As I always like to say, 9 years of vintage racing on the GSRC channel, and we're going to be looking forward to year 10 next year. Thank you, of course, to the team today, the birthday boy Joseph, Daniel, and Dougie Beard. Next week, as we were saying, it is the Circuit of the Americas. As they used to say, same time, same place. And like I said, it's a return to Kota for a while. It's a little bit of an update since we last came, so that's going to be quite interesting. But there's more racing on the horizon, as tomorrow, well, we have the Lotus 79s. That's going to be very much fun around Road Atlanta. Porsche Owners Club goes to Road America. And then Porsche East Carrera Cup North America on the Porsche North America YouTube channel and Twitch channel will head to Road Atlanta, and then we're back to Road Do you get where I'm going here? We're going to the roads next week and this week on. So do keep your eyes on that, and keep your eyes on the championship, because Gabri Martinez, in a very shocking surprise, is leading the championship. No one ever thought that at the start of the season, but he's really putting on some dominance. And Valenteus, it's just same old for the gold standard. Until next time, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.